In the wake of Tuesday's election, congressional leaders from both parties have suggested bipartisan compromise. Yes, actual compromise might be possible. The first place we're likely to see whether it's a reality is this fiscal cliff, that combination of tax increases and spending cuts that the Congressional Budget Office says could lead to a government-induced recession. Can we get out of this? What would a deal look like? We're joined by Zach Goldfarb and Neil Irwin to try and sort through it. Good to see you guys. Zach, do we think there's actual movement in Congress on actually working together?
So there's slightly more movement than there was on Tuesday night and last year, or much of this year, but just slightly. The president and Democrats have made clear basically what they want. They want increased taxes on the wealthy, and they want only modest changes to entitlements. The real dividing line between them and the Republicans has been this issue of increased taxes on the wealthy. And yesterday, House Speaker John Boehner said he would be open to increasing tax revenues in some way. Now, he's not accepting the main Democratic desire, which is increasing taxes through higher rates on the wealthy. But there are other ways to do that, and he's suggesting some greater openness. It's far too soon, though, to say whether that means we'll have a deal this year or next.
Okay, and Neil, give us the stakes. What's the timetable and what's on the table?
What the fiscal cliff is all these tax increases and spending cuts that take place January 1st if there's not some deal that, like along the lines that Zach is talking about. So absent a deal, 4% of GDP, that's a huge number, take effect January 1 in terms of higher taxes on all Americans through the Bush tax cuts expiring, spending cuts, especially on defense, which Republicans don't like to see. So this is a pretty painful thing if it happens. Now, the question is, that's kind of the stick. That's the thing looming over everyone. It's a forcing mechanism to get everybody to the negotiating table, try and come up with a deal. The question is, if it were to happen January 1 and these taxes go up and these spending cuts happen, how immediate is the effect? We don't really know the answer to that. Is this a thing where people look ahead and are fearful that they're going to pay these higher taxes all year? Or do they say, well, it's just the first couple of paychecks? In fact, we're already seeing an impact because businesses, capital expenditures by business have been under pressure the last couple of months. We've seen households be nervous about this thing. What we don't know is, how immediately will people react in their spending and investment decisions if we go over the cliff, even for just a few weeks.
And we've also seen the market take a hit in the last couple of days. And as much as politicians say that uncertainty is bad for the economy, do we see the commitment to get rid of that uncertainty and actually come up with a deal? And so, Zach, the hardest question we'll ask in this segment, what does a deal look like?
I think it's pretty clear that if they find a deal, it will include some more spending cuts. It will include some modest changes to entitlements like Medicare and Medicaid, and it will include some mechanism for increased tax revenues. Whether that's just an agreement to allow the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy to expire, raising rates from 35% to 39.6%, or whether it includes some negotiation for next year where they lower the rates but they eliminate dozens and dozens of special loopholes, deductions, and various knickknacks, then they could raise the money that way. So,
but is that a deal that could be done before January 1?
Well, they could come to a deal next year and diffuse the immediate fiscal cliff, which Neil talked about. And then what they would basically do is create a new fiscal cliff at the end of next year to force them to create a deal next year.
I've heard that song before.
Right.
Okay. Thank you guys both.
Thanks.